Hello and welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. And with me today again, Frank Reynolds, the CEO of PixarBio, also John Persinos, Senior Editor at Investing Daily. And we're going to delve a little bit deeper. You were here a couple weeks ago, super interesting information about your company. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into the actual business, the operations of the company today. So John, I know you've been doing a little research. You want to kick things off with Frank?
Sure. You're in the middle of raising capital right now, and you're on the verge of launching an IPO. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. We've acquired a public company, and we're in the process of merging into it. We're doing all the paperwork to provide the SEC with our Super 8K, and we'll begin trading in early September. So we're very excited. We have a $30 million raise right now. We're hoping to be oversubscribed to it. So if anybody's interested in investing, they can contact us at info@pixarbio.com. But we do have a product that should be able to replace morphine in the clinic. It's non-addictive, non-opiate. It's exactly what the market needs right now. We're the only product that can go more than 4 days. You know, we can go up to 14 days with our first product after surgery for post-op pain. It's a real big breakthrough.
Well, biotech IPO, always of great interest to investors.
Yes.
Also of interest is the whole topic of opiate addiction. It seems that your product is very timely right now. There's been a lot of concern about the epidemic of opiate addiction throughout America. President Obama has made it a priority to fight opiate addiction. Congress is looking into it. Legislation's been proposed. And a lot of doctors have been reluctant to prescribe painkillers because it's become such a problem. So it seems that this product is right in the sweet spot right now. It's coming along at the exact right time that a product like this needs to come along.
Absolutely. There's a big focus on addiction right now in the marketplace, of course, and what's happening is no product can really go more than a day or so. So patients go home from the hospital, they do have an opiate prescription, and then the pain comes on after a few days, and it really comes on like gangbusters, especially in a knee replacement. And of course, instead of taking 1 or 2, they're taking 2 or 3. You know, they're not following it as prescribed. These are physically addictive drugs, and they become addictive. You know, I have actually trademarked the phrase clinic-based addiction. You know, really only occurs if you go to the hospital and you're given these physically addictive drugs. So we have seen now society take a turn just in the last quarter. The FDA has given black label status to all opiates. The CDC has given a warning for people in pain over 7 days around the use of opiates. And of course, we have arrived right on time. So we use a product that's a drug that's already FDA approved in the 1960s. So because it was approved in the 1960s, we have 50 years of safety data on it. Our drug materials that we use, the drug delivery system, the materials were approved in the 1960s. So we have a 505(b)(2) path through the FDA. So with the 505(b)(2) path, that means everything's already FDA approved, found to be safe and effective in, believe it or not, treating pain. So we take a pill approved for pain, and we reformulate it and then inject it and make it last a long time. So today, some patients take as much as 1,200 milligrams of carbamazepine for pain. We'll be delivering just 3 milligrams a day. So it's a big difference in you know, you reduce all the side effects and a big difference in therapeutic effect. But the most important part of carbamazepine, and really most epileptic drugs, is they don't affect locomotion. So the goal of epileptic drugs are to have people slow down the brain neural functioning, but not affect locomotion so they can drive and eat. And that's what we provide our patients. So the patients will wake up from surgery with the ability to move, but they will be pain-free.
That's that's life-changing.
Yeah,
so, and when we talked last time, you gave kind of a timeline of when somebody, say they're viewing this in some pain, want to know when they're going to be able to actually use this. So what would be the timeline to when a prescription would be able to be available?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? We have the FDA and a lot of people now taking efforts around non-opiates. Our timeline right now is the end of 2018 for FDA approval, but we're still going to apply for expedited approval. So with that expedited approval, we think we can certainly come in by the end of 2018. But again, it's a 505(b)(2), only a couple of years. We have all the 50 years of safety data on the materials. Of course, we've done all of our preclinical data, and all the tox data is fantastic.
Plus, there's a political kind of need for it, too.
Yeah,
which
society.
Real urgency.
I'll tell you what, we have just put out a private placement memorandum, and we have many investors calling, investing, and crying. You'd be surprised at how many people are really crying, making their investment that they've lost a loved one. And everybody needs it. All of us are going to have some problems in pain. I've been in pain now for over 20 years. I woke up from a back surgery, paralyzed, and I've been in terrible pain. I suffer arachnoiditis. I've been inventing injectable non-opiates for about 10 years now, but my new one, the microparticle delivery system, is so targeted, it's perfect for pain. Really
well, you know, the potential demand seems enormous to me. For instance, there are, I think, 70 million surgeries performed every year in the United States, and only about 1 million of them afterwards use non-opiate painkillers.
That's correct.
So that's a tremendous room for growth.
Absolutely.
The other competitive advantage, it seems to me, is that what you do is what's called applied science. I mean, you have the degrees, you know better than I do, but But what it is it takes a drug that has already been approved by the FDA, that's already been proven, has a long safety track record, and you're modifying it so that you can accelerate the approval process. That's huge because the approval process can be quite protracted, can take a long time. And so you found a way to accelerate that because this drug has been around since the 60s.
Absolutely, and that's my model actually. I've learned at Penn Engineering, the Wharton School, MIT, Harvard Business School, some of the best schools in the world.
Yeah.
I actually spent 20 years in college learning how to do all this, and that's exactly what I do. Since I fund the companies, I've invested almost $10 million in PixarBio. I want to make sure that these are short studies. I don't want a 10-year cancer study, so I selected something I know I can get to market in 5 years. I felt that we could have an exit in 3. And actually, August 29th will be our 3-year anniversary, so we're coming up and achieving that goal too. So we have selected our product by design in order to make sure that we could fund it and get it all the way to market and help patients.
Now, if I understand it correctly, it's based on a drug to treat epilepsy.
That's
and it's
correct.
highly targeted.
Yes.
Highly targeted pain prevention, pain relief. So it's not sort of a broad brush approach that interferes with motor skills.
That's correct. It's very selective is the word. So it's a sodium channel blocker that's so selective it only affects sensory signals that come back to the brain.
Right.
So it doesn't affect any signals away from the brain. So what we do is we inject along the nervous system. You know, the nerves are like cables. We inject a nerve block injection, which surgeons do 9 million a year. There's so many done. Most do tens of thousands in their career. It's simple nerve blocks anywhere along that nerve cable, and then we can stop the signal. If we inject between the point of injury or surgery and their brain, we can stop the signal from getting back. So our first treatment for 14 days will last 14 days and wear off. It is biodegradable, so we expect that people will be able to re-inject. Then we follow that only 6 months later in 2019 with our 7-day product, and then in 2020 we have a 3-day product that's actually sprinkle on. So today we use vancomycin to sprinkle into incisions and wounds in order to defeat infection. It's an antibiotic. We'll be able to sprinkle on our powder into a wound and immediately have a replacement for morphine without affecting locomotion.
A couple of things. The duration of the efficacy seems key because other non-opiates, they wear off after a while. There's a lot of backsliding.
Absolutely.
It sort of defeats the purpose that people end up taking Percocet or whatever anyway.
Yeah, so the fact the drug is so selective that we only affect sensory without affecting locomotion, but then the delivery system is so targeted, it breaks down almost within hours of our timeline. So that's our plan. Within, if we have our treatment we expect to last 14 days, we would expect it to last 14 days in a few hours. Right now, the only other player in the market is a very uncontrolled release system with a lot of variability on when it takes effect and when it wears off. I know that most patients, I believe 72%, are on opiates in 25 hours after surgery. So we really need a new replacement. Rebound pain is the big problem. We're the only ones that can solve it by going more than 4 days. We can go to 14. No one else is coming. If you look at who's at the FDA, they're all bupivacaine-based drugs. I hear a lot of people say that innovation is taking something and tweaking it. Well, we've thrown everything up in the air and started from scratch. We interviewed 100 surgeons and anesthesiologists and built the right platform for them. It's shipped as a powder. We use 20 regular saline, 20 cc vial, reconstituted with saline like every other drug in the world. Surgeons and anesthesiologists, do nerve blocks all the time. So there's no new surgical equipment. You're just simply replacing the drug in a vial.
Okay, so pain is a huge market.
Yes.
But could there be some other applications for this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's an anti-epileptic drug, so we think it's an outstanding treatment for epilepsy. I'm actually very proud. I know that our drug's never been published anyway, that have been delivered for more than 48 hours. We have an epileptic implant. We have few generations of them. One's now past 2 years. We have 36 implants right now that are coming up on a year. So what we envision possibly for an epileptic patient would be a small burr hole around their area of hyperactivity, and an injection would then release for a long period of time our anti-epileptic drug, which we think would be ideal. So for some patients, of course, have 100 seizures a day. There's all kinds of extreme seizures. For those patients, there are obviously a true benefit there. We also have a microparticle platform for spinal cord injury. I consider myself a great spinal cord injury researcher, so we're making progress there. And then we're also in Parkinson's. My father died from Parkinson's disease. That's why I became a neuroscientist and got so involved in what we do. When I was 17, I was going off to be a nuclear engineer, I thought, and ended up going a different direction because my father got sick and I had to run the family business. I did make my way back and complete my college part-time, you could say, in 4 years, and then finished 20 years of college along the way. I got
impressive, very impressive.
Make me feel like a slacker.
You want to wrap things up?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it does take a lot of smarts to cure things.
Oh, I'm sure.
People say, why'd you go to college for 20 years? So that's how long it took.
Yeah.
Right? You mentioned sprinkling it on to wounds. That fascinates me, and it would seem to me that there would be great military application for that, correct? I would imagine the Pentagon is interested.
Absolutely. We actually do have the head of pain management at the Pentagon, Dr. Stephen Cohen, is one of our advisors on our scientific advisory board from the day we founded the company. We're very excited not only for battlefield applications, but the potential for phantom limb pain. So, you know, we have soldiers, of course, with thumb pain and they don't have an arm. So an injection in the shoulder would stop the signal getting back from the brain. And we think that could be a treatment for phantom limb pain. But certainly in the battlefield, today we immobilize patients with a shot of morphine, and other soldiers have to drag them. Today they could possibly treat themselves with a sprinkle on it and get themselves to safety without risking other lives. So it's really a big application. And we're excited about it.
Just really quick, if somebody is interested in investing, how can they find out more information?
Well, they can email us at investorrelations@pixarbio.com or info@pixarbio.com. And you know, we have a team ready to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Frank Reynolds,
very
CEO of PixarBio, and also John Persinos, Senior Editor at Investing Daily. And thank you as well for joining us on Small Cap Nation. And for more information about small companies doing some interesting things, you can go to smallcapnation.com.